Hey guys, it's Hazzy. I'm back again, and as you can see, I have a different backdrop behind me. I have a tapestry that has, as you can see, like the sunrise kind of thing, and then I bought a curtain of multicolored lights, and I hung them up on top of it, and it looks really cool. So that's my new backdrop for my story times and things like that. So anyway, so today I wanted to tell you the story time of how I came to live and run an Airbnb for 3 years. It's kind of a crazy story. So, where do I start? Okay, so going way back to before I even had any idea that I would go to an Airbnb. I was staying with someone. I was renting a room. I was renting a basement in this guy's townhome. We'll call him R. I didn't really have any issues with him. I enjoyed it there. It was peaceful. It was just him and I. He had his bedroom upstairs. He was a little bit older than me. And, he was nice to talk to and everything. It was, a pretty chill place to live. It was during this time that I actually ended up getting Bunbun as a baby. She was a little 6 week old baby. She was like this small, just tiny, so cute. So yeah, everything was good at first for probably about like 2 months, and then I made the mistake of letting an ex-boyfriend of mine move in there. It was supposed to be temporarily. I think you know where the story's going, right? It was supposed to be temporarily, and he ended up staying for, I want to say, like a year and a half. And just to make a long story short, as far as this part goes, he just stressed me out so bad. For the most part, he couldn't hold down a job, so he was home a lot. He would come into my room whenever he felt like it because my door didn't have a lock on it, which before had never been an issue because, the landlord was actually a respectful person. But my ex-boyfriend, we'll call him B, he just did whatever the heck he wanted, and he stressed me out so bad that I ended up having to move out. Yeah, that was pretty tough. That was pretty tough. So I got out of there and I ended up staying with a friend of mine um, in a place called Havre de Grace. It's a really pretty little town here in Maryland that is right on the water. They have a boardwalk, there's a gazebo, there's a nice restaurant that you can eat that's right, a few of them that are right on the water. It's a really, quaint little town. They have a lot of old houses and stuff like that. So my guy friend that I was staying with at the time, we'll call him K. He had a son. I think his son was probably around 2 or 3 at the time, and he had his son only, I think, like 2 weekends a month or something like that. I forget, but he had him occasionally, like 2 or 3 weekends a month. And the house that he was in was a townhome, an older townhome, that only had window units for the air conditioning, window units in the windows. So yeah, it got pretty hot in summer. But anyway, so his son wasn't around that often. So what he ended up doing was he let me stay in his son's bedroom because he only had the 2 bedrooms upstairs, and then like the lower level. It literally was one bathroom in the house, just one bathroom, and it had a tub, and obviously shower, and toilet and sink and that kind of stuff, but one bathroom, and it was off the kitchen. It was really weird, but I guess that's older homes for you. Like, they're laid out a little bit differently. So anyway, so I ended up staying with him. It was during the summer. I ended up staying with him. I think it ended up being about 3 months altogether. And I was paying him, I forget exactly what I was paying him, but I was paying him, a monthly, some kind of monthly rent to like help him out because I know that he, was always struggling with money or whatever. And but the unfortunate thing for me is that he made me feel very unwelcome the whole time. He was okay in the beginning, I guess, and then I don't know. I don't know if he just ended up feeling resentful or something, but he's someone that usually lives alone and is used to living alone. And I don't know, like it just was very uncomfortable. I didn't even really have a closet to put my things in. I had most of my stuff in a storage unit that was, you know, in the general area. So I kind of go back and forth and get what I needed. The the bed he had me sleeping on, honestly, I probably would have been better off sleeping on the floor because it was the hardest bed I have ever been on in my life. It was terrible. I don't know what kind of mattress that was. It was just like a standard, like just a standard, you know, single, twin, whatever you call it, you know, the small ones. Just a little wooden bed. And it was donated to him. The bed with the mattress was donated, and I can see why, because like it was hard as a rock. And my back's starting to hurt just thinking about it. But I ended up buying one of those. I would have been better off buying something a little bit better, but I knew I wasn't going to be there that long. But I bought one of those little, you know, those like egg crate things that you can buy at Walmart for like pretty cheap. And that helped a little bit. But yeah, he was just always like bitching and complaining, but he would like do it behind my back. Like he wouldn't do it actually to my face, because like I'm the type of person, like I want someone to communicate with me. If there's an issue, communicate with me. Like it's not that hard. We're all adults here, you know. Like I had known him for a long time, probably over 20 years at that point. And it was really disappointing. And I guess you don't really know what someone's really like until you live with them. So yeah, it was difficult. You know, I was doing gig work at the time, so I tried to be out of the house as much as possible. I tried to be in bed by the time he came home from work. I think he worked, I want to say it was like from 3 in the afternoon till like 10 or 11 at night kind of thing. So every time I went in, like I would leave like around noon or something like that. So every time I had to go downstairs and take a shower and try to get ready, like he was in the kitchen blaring music or YouTube videos or something. And like when I just wake up, like I can't deal with all that. Like any of that, like it's just noise to me, and it stressed me out so bad. So I would kind of like shower as fast as I could and go. And the house was really hot too, because it was summer. And he had 2 window units. There was one in the living room area on the lower level, and there was one in his bedroom, which was like all the way down the hall from his son's bedroom where I was staying at. And he would only turn that on occasionally. So like the whole time you were just like sweaty in that house, just sweaty. Like it was gross. I had Bunbun with me. I felt bad for her. She was in the living room. Like, I don't know. Anyway, so he ended up meeting some girl in the park, and they started like dating or sleeping together or whatever. And yeah, like one morning I heard him like complaining about like the BGE bill, like the electric bill, like how it had gone up by like $60 or whatever. And I thought to myself, MFer, I'm paying you rent for a room that's like not even mine. Like I can't even make it my own. I don't even have a closet. Like, you know, I was living out of bags. And yeah, that was just, it was really, really frustrating. So I just decided, you know what, I need to get out of here. After 3 months, I had had enough, and I wasn't sure where I was going or what I was going to do. So I just told him, you know, thanks, but I need to get out of here. And he was like, well, where are you going? And I'm like, well, I don't really know where I'm going yet, but I'll figure it out. And he's like, oh, well, that's irresponsible. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. So I was just done with him at that point. So I think I got out of there. I believe it was like a Sunday. It was a weekend day. And fortunately, he made himself scarce I think I had to go to the storage unit like 5 times or something. I had a small car at the time. I had a coupe. It was a 2-door Sunfire, and I didn't realize how much stuff I'd actually like brought in there over the course of the 3 months. So that was kind of frustrating, but I was glad that he wasn't around because he had just stressed me out to the point where I didn't want to deal with him. And yeah, so I got out of there without much, you know, many problems or anything. It was just really disappointing, you know, that I was already going through stuff and getting out of a bad situation, and for someone that I thought was a good friend to treat me like that. I mean, it's sad, but a lot of times, you know, you see people's true colors, and a lot of times you see them when you're having a really hard time. You know, the people that are there for you and really care about you are going to be there, and they're not going to make you feel bad about stuff. And the other ones, well, you'll see. You'll see the true colors. So yeah, so we ended up, Bunbun and I got a hotel room for the night, and it was like not the best hotel room. Like, it was a cheap one, and oh my gosh, I haven't stayed there since. I don't think I would ever stay there again. Like, I don't think you could pay me enough to stay there. Like, it was in not the best area, and there, you know, I brought Bunbun with me, of course, and I think it's a pet-friendly hotel, but it's a rabbit, you know, whatever, right? So I had her in, and I remember I was getting a few things from the car, and there were like guys that were kind of staring at me, and I just started feeling kind of unsafe, like, am I okay? And then I remember the hotel room, there was a package of cigarettes, like almost a full pack of menthol cigarettes on the floor next to the bed. And the Bible, you know how like most hotels have a Bible, and the Bible had something between the pages, because I saw that there was like a little like gap, you know, it was like sitting on the dresser or whatever. So I looked at it, and there was a razor blade in there, like a blade, like not a razor blade, but like it looked like something from like an X-Acto knife. So, you know, same kind of thing. But I was like, wow, I wonder if someone was like, you know, cutting up drugs or whatever with that. So yeah, needless to say, after that I was like, this isn't gonna work for me. So I was looking at other hotels, and it was still kind of, you know, hotel rooms add up pretty fast and everything. So a friend of mine, I forget who, but one of my friends had suggested that I try look at Airbnbs in the area that I wanted to stay at, which was about half an hour south. So I figured that was a good idea. So I found one, and it was a townhome, and the picture of the guy, when I saw that picture, I was just like, there's no way this guy runs an Airbnb. He had actually, it turned out it was an older picture of him when he was like fresh out of college or something. He was like, you know, just this like nerdy kind of guy with glasses, you know, blue eyes, dark hair, looked really, really young. And I was like, there's no way this guy runs an Airbnb. So we'll just call him G-Man for any other referrals to him. So I was like, you know what, he seems nice. You know, the place looked nice. There were 3 different bedrooms that he was renting out at different prices, and, you know, different size beds. There was a twin bed, a queen size bed, and I think it was a queen size bed, whatever, queen or full, I forget, and then a king size bed. So I just needed a basic room. I think I ended up booking, it was the purple room, the blue room, and the ivory room is what he called them. So I think I ended up booking the blue room for like 2 nights. And I wanted to, you know, talk to him, and when I got there, and see if I could rent it like, you know, month to month or whatever. So anyway, so I get there, and it was nice. It seemed pretty quiet. I don't think I saw him when I initially got in, because he had everything set up where people had their own codes, and they could come in and they could come and go, and things like that. So that was pretty nice. I forget if he had door locks on the doors at that time. He may or may not have. I don't remember, but I ended up meeting him, I believe it was the next day. Of course, I slept in because I was just like so tired from the night before, from just dealing with, you know, the hotel and the stress and just like the exhaustion of like having to move everything out of Kay's house and just being done with that. So yeah, I ended up sitting in the kitchen and talking to this guy, G-Man. And I was just kind of, I ended up telling him about my situation and, you know, my living situation and just kind of like what I'd been through and everything. And so anyway, he knew that I was looking for somewhere to stay at that time. I remember he wasn't feeling too good that day. So, you know, we ended up saying, okay, you know, we'll talk later, whatever. So I ended up, I think I went out and worked that evening. Yeah, I was out. I remember I was out of the house at that time and a little later, and he sent me a message, and he was like, when do you get home? Because there's something that I want to talk to you about. And I was like, I wonder what that is, you know? So then he sent another message and he was like, you know, sneak peek, you know, how would you and Bunbun like to stay here and help me run the Airbnb? And it would be like in exchange for rent. Like it would take like, you know, maybe 2 hours a day, and then you guys can stay here, like live here, and just, you know, basically like help me run the place. And I was just like, that sounded really good to me. I was like, okay, you know, like I didn't have any, you know, weird feelings about him. He was definitely older than his picture. I found out he was in his 30s, you know, mid 30s. Just an overweight, dorky guy, you know. Easy to talk to, easy to get along with. He was actually Mormon, from Arizona, and he was in Maryland for work. It turns out he had originally been married, but then so he came over with his wife and their adopted daughter, and I don't know how long his wife and his daughter were around in Maryland, but they ended up splitting up, and I think he was finalizing his divorce at that point in time, and the two of them had gone back to Arizona, so he turned their family home into an Airbnb to try to basically, you know, recoup his money and stay there by himself, kind of thing. He did have a good job. He had a good government job at the time, and I know he was making like really good money, but I guess, you know, he figured if I can make money from the house, why not? So yeah, so I didn't know what I was getting into. I had no clue. So if you can picture this, so the house is kind of basic, you know, as far as furniture, dark furniture. You know, he had everything that you would need, as far as, you know, microwave, fridge, waffle maker, you know, like all the appliances, all the cutlery, you know, everything that you would need to like cook and whatever. Upstairs there was one full bathroom, so there were 3 rooms, 3 rooms people were renting, and one bathroom that came off from the master bedroom, which was now the ivory room. So everybody was sharing that bathroom. Kind of interesting. I have more stories about that later. That's for another video though, or it's gonna get too long. And then the mid-level had the kitchen, living room. There was a half bath off the living room, and then the basement was mostly one big area. The townhome, it was pretty nice. It had a bump out on in the back. So the bump out extended out 2 levels. So it made the house quite a bit bigger as far as the basement and then the kitchen area. So that was pretty nice. And then the basement had a full bathroom with a stand-up shower, and then of course, you know, toilet sink. Towards the at the back of the house, there was the laundry room with, you know, nice washer dryer and stuff. Um, the house was nice, you know, it looked pretty nice. It was comfortable to stay in, you know, everything looked good. So I didn't really think anything of it. I figured the basement where he stayed would look much the same, you know. I was really wrong about that. so, um, so he ended up, you know, inviting me down to the basement where he lived, and it was kind of shocking when I saw what was going on down there. So I didn't realize, but I found out that he had been very depressed, extremely depressed, after his wife left him and took their daughter back home to where they're from. So he, okay, so I'm just trying to think how to put this. So keep in mind that there are 3 bedrooms upstairs that he's renting out, and each bedroom has 4 sets of bedding. So we're talking for, you know, comforters, pillows, flat sheets, fitted sheets, the whole 9. Like, it's a lot of bedding. So apparently, with him being depressed and unmotivated and everything, there was a pile. And when I say pile, I'm not exaggerating. It was a pile, like a huge pile of bedding on the floor. I swear, I feel like it was taller than me, and I'm 5'8". So I mean, it was just like this huge pile of bedding just sitting there, because he had been pulling, you know, the sheets and everything off the bed and throwing the new ones on, and then like not being motivated enough to wash them, fold them, and put them away. I was just like, okay, this is gonna be a lot of work. So he had this chair that has long since been junked, thank God. It was this old brown like recliner. It wasn't even a good one. Like, it wasn't even like a lazy boy or something. It was like this old brown, gross. Like, it was just gross because he'd spent like so much time just like sitting in there depressed, like watching TV, playing games or whatever, you know. And so I called it the old man chair. So that was in the far corner of the basement, like kind of next to the bump out area. And then he had like a twin bed in the bump out area for himself. And I'll never forget this either. And I have pictures of everything, but I'm probably not going to share them. I don't know. Might be interesting, might be entertaining. I don't know. I mean, I did feel bad for the guy. I really did at first, until I found out what he was really like. But I digress. So yeah, he was sitting there. He drank Diet Dr. Pepper a lot. And there were Diet Dr. Pepper cans just scattered like all around his chair, on the floor. And then he also had some plates with some old food, you know, food residue that had been sitting there for a while and dried up. Some, you know, cutlery. Like, it was just a mess. Like, there was just stuff everywhere. He had an old washer and dryer that I believe they still worked, but I think they were probably the ones that came with the house. They were just kind of generic, you know, washer and dryer. That they were sitting there in like the middle of the room. Like, it was kind of crazy. So I was like, wow, this is going to be a lot of work. But you know what? I was just so happy to have found a place that was, you know, quiet, and I kind of had felt at home, and, you know, I got along well with him and everything seemed good. So I was pretty motivated. Within that week, within a few days, I ended up doing a deep clean of the upstairs bathroom because I wanted it to, you know, look really nice. I ended up changing changing, I don't want to say changing, yeah, changing some things, improving some things, as far as how the laundry was like folded and put away. Like I ended up organizing that and organizing just a lot of stuff and helping him with a lot of stuff. And yeah, we he would buy me food like almost every night. We would like sit and like watch The Simpsons and hang out. I actually have not watched an episode of The Simpsons since, because it just kind of reminds me of him and that whole thing. So yeah, things were really good for a while. They were really good for a while. So that was the story of how I ended up showing up and running an Airbnb, the beginnings of it anyway. So I think I'm going to end this video here because it's pretty long. We're at half an hour, almost half an hour already. But there's definitely a lot more to the story. So I will end that here. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this. If you did, please smash that like button. If you want to hear more crazy stories and see more of me, then definitely subscribe. This is a very new channel, so I'm still trying to slowly build it. I'm still going to have more stuff about Bunbun too, but I'm also incorporating other stuff about me, and this channel is a work in progress. So any support is much appreciated, and I will see you guys in the next one. Okay, bye.